The Gospel of St. Mark is a gospel that goes around the question, who is this man? It's a very short gospel. It's very fast-paced, and it's full of events and movement. It's the Gospel of St. Peter, so it's an eyewitness, someone who was there, like very there, really close to Jesus. St. Peter, Jesus' right-hand man. And St. Mark is the writer. We don't know if St. Mark is the same guy in the Garden of Gethsemane who runs away and they grab his tunic and he runs away without anything on. We don't know if that is him. I think there are some that say maybe that is, and he put it in there and it was his property that he used to let the Lord come on to. Some even go as far as to say that he was the rich young man. Like, we don't know. All we do know is that he was the scribe of Peter and he wrote everything down. And the gospel goes around the question, who is this man? And very early in the gospel is the demons that say, we know who you are. So they're answering the question right away. We know who you are. You're the Holy One of God. And he commands them to be quiet. The very beginning of the gospel starts that this is the gospel of Jesus Christ, the Son of God. So it starts basically saying who he is, and then the whole gospel is trying to answer that question. And the middle of the gospel is Peter's confession of faith. Truly, you are the Christ. And the end of the gospel is the centurion saying, this man truly was the Son of God. So it's very well thought out, and as far as like there is structure. I think people are just now discovering Mark and seeing his genius. And today it is the question, who is this? Who is this that even the wind and the sea obey? Which for a Jew and for the Old Testament, if you go through the Psalms and even the wisdom writings, when they make reference to him who commands the wind and the sea being a very dangerous kind of like element and image, it's God and only God. Petrie says that this is a moment here where there's like there's those two moments where it's clearly the gospel writer saying this man is God. Here, when he's saying that he even commands the wind and the sea, which is a reference to only God, and then in the transfiguration as well, where his divinity is seen. But Jesus is asleep, so it's also the man, the Son. He's fully man and he's fully God. He's fully man, he's fully God, so he's sleeping, he's tired, and he's really sleeping, like Jesus slept. He's a man. And he's sleeping, and it's an absolute storm. Things are getting rocked around. The disciples, it says that they're frightened. They're very scared. And they woke him up. It's a funny detail that said he's sleeping on a cushion because he himself said he never had a place to lay his head. So it might be one of the disciples hearing that brought a cushion to try to maybe get some points with him. It could have been something that happened, and they gave him a cushion, and he had a cushion to lay his head down. It's a detail. I think it's there's probably something behind there that he's on a cushion, and he gets up and he rebukes him. He says, "Be quiet, still," and right away it calms down. And the key to this is that the disciples still don't know who he is. Because if they knew who he was, if you really just think about it, like he's on the boat, and if I know who he is, who is this man? Well, this is the man God. And the man God commands the wind, he commands the sea. I'm on the boat, and like it's looking pretty crazy right now, the storm, but he's on the boat. Like, I don't think he's going to be like sleeping to the point where like we all drown. Like, I know who he is. He's going to take care of it, and I'm just going to continue. That's a lot to ask, but that's what faith is. It's a lot to ask Abraham to sacrifice his son. It's a lot to ask Abraham to leave from his country. It's a lot to ask, and God asks a lot. And he wants to ask us a lot, and he wants us to have that attitude of taking that step into the deep. Lord, if it's you, tell me to come out. It is I. And Peter steps out of the boat and he starts walking on water. He's asking him everything. He's asking him to walk on water, which is an impossible thing to do. If they really knew who he was, they would be okay. And to really know who he is to have faith in what he says. Lord, I believe you are the Son of God. I believe that you are in control of everything. You know all things. You're God. You're all-knowing. You see all things, and you can do all things. And I mean, taking it from the image of the boat and going now into our soul, I know you're in me. I know you live in me. In you, I have my being. In you, I exist. And so I'm going to let go of the reins, and I know you're there. And you take control. And he does. And that's what faith is. It's like as the Hebrew said today, the letter, he says it's like a substance. It's like something that we have. Even though you don't see it empirically measuring it, you have it, and it's there, and you walk on that, and it is a light. It is a sort of vision. It does give you a vision to see the next step, and it's something that we have to treasure and give. The faith needs to be given because so many people are living right now, and I think that was Benedict's main concern, that just people, like the main thing right now, the base is faith, and they don't have it, and they need to see in us a substance. They need to see in us something. There's something there, like I can't really put my finger on it, but it's real. There's like an actual thing there, and that's what faith is. It's a real thing that you possess. It's not an idea. It's not like an equation, or like, okay, if I like think these certain thoughts or read these certain words, I'm going to start living in a certain way. It's a real substance. It's a person. It's a person, like with personality that you can speak with and you can know, and that's Christ. So that they know Christ, let that be our prayer, that they know who this man is. He's the man God, and he's amongst us, and he can calm the storm. There's no storm that's out of his control. There's no wind, everything, like as far as passions and temptations and crazy things that you can get thrown at you, he's in charge, and he puts his hand there. So we'll ask our Blessed Mother to give us that grace in today's Mass through the intercession of St. Thomas Aquinas, who's celebrating feast day we're celebrating today. Amen.